Morning, Dr. Matt Worthington, clinical psychologist, coming to you from Brisbane in Australia. I'm just in the gym, just doing some cycling at the moment. Okay, look, decent people are being gaslighted by terrorist organisations who are appearing as legitimate humanitarian causes. That's like a camouflage they use, okay? So groups like Antifa, and they promote themselves as being anti-fascist, right? They're not anti-fascist at all. They are the fascists, right? They want control, and they control through confusion and appearing credible. And they also control, and this is important, by triggering fear and your guilt in you, right? Which is basically a fear of being rejected. A fear of being rejected for being a bad person. A fear of being a bad person and then being rejected by society. That's what guilt is, right? So basically, when someone humiliates you, when they say, oh, I'm offended by what you just said, I'm offended, they're not really offended because they don't have any feelings. They just want to see a reaction on your face. Right, it's about you. It's not about their offence. You should reply with something like, well, I'm offended that you're offended. Right, or reply with something like, oh, I feel so humiliated. Play them at their own game. I feel so humiliated. Or use a line from George Orwell's 1984 book. How many fingers do you want me to believe that I see? You're holding up 3. Do you want me to believe I see 4? You know, play it back on them, right? They're counting on the fact that you won't argue back, that you won't stand up, right? The people who follow fascists are either other fascists, control freaks, sociopathic, narcissistic control freaks, or they're appeasers looking for validation and connection, or they're just naive and they genuinely believe that they are doing a good thing. They genuinely believe that they are doing a good thing. They've been brainwashed by extreme polar ends of political parties. And it's similar, it's funny actually that the extreme ends of the far left and the far right are very similar in their tactics. They're just narcissistic sociopaths who want control. Either side. It doesn't matter what label you give them, political label you give them, they're just narcissistic sociopaths. That's what they are. They've always been around, ever since the year dot, right? So even before we could speak our language, even before we had words and labels, they were there. They're not a new thing, right? So regardless of the political label and the political game they play, right? They are not politicians. They are narcissistic sociopaths and psychopaths. And they just want control and power. That's all they want. And I've got to tell you, I was taken in, and I have been taken in by all the hype. Right, I have been, and I'm a psychologist, and to be honest with you, I'm pretty good at what I do, really, right? But I was taken in because this is how powerful it is, right? Well, if someone drip feeds information to you, and that someone is very credible, or it's coming through the TV, or the radio, or the newspaper, or the internet, we just assume it's credible because it's coming from there, you know, because, you know, those people wouldn't lie, would they? Well, they're human beings, and yes, they would lie. So it's difficult to know who to trust and who to not trust. I get that. It was the same for me. It was the same for me, right? We are being subjected to propaganda. We are, right? And all political parties and PR companies and marketing companies, they all do it. But like I said in the last video, it's the extent to which they go to, right? And the extent we've got now, we've got a virus which one side of the political spectrum, I'll say it, the left, right, keep on trying to shut down anybody who says this is a bioweapon. And they keep on getting shut down. That's a form of control by narcissistic sociopaths, right? If you want to find out a bit about this, go to projectveritas.com and have a look at some of the videos that the undercover journalists, they've infiltrated organisations and they've recorded people on video, and that's the way you get them, because they're trying to record you on video, these sociopathic narcissists, to make you feel afraid of being outcast and rejected. That's what they're playing on. Ultimately, that's what they're playing on, right? So once you know what they're playing on, just say, oh, I feel like an outcast, oh, but do it in a mocking way. Oh, you've outcasted me. You've reached your goal. You've got your goal, right? Have a nice day. Oh, you know, let them know that you're not going to be intimidated by their lies and their bullshit, right? And all this thing about not funding police. Look, I was a police officer, right? And I saw some horrific things, right, done on all levels, right? Every police force in the world. There's a famous experiment done. It's called the prison experiment. Anywhere you give someone uniforms, there's always going to be a small sector of that group that it will play into the predisposition for a need for power and status. That's anywhere, in any profession, whether it's doctors, psychologists, firemen, paramedics, policemen, lawyers, you know, any job, military, gardeners, street sweepers, plasterers, office workers, right? It doesn't matter. If there's human beings, there will always be sociopathic narcissists, and they're very good at camouflaging themselves. So when you give, and they just want power, so when you give them a uniform, it legitimizes that need, right? So it doesn't matter what area of work, or even in school, or whatever, right? And if anyone tries to twist my words, then they are likely a sociopathic narcissist, right? And I'll just leave them to it. Let them humiliate me. Let them humiliate, because that's what they want. If that's what they get off on, fine, right? Don't react to them. They want you to react. They want to see hurt on your face. They want to see that you fear being rejected. That's what they want to see, and that's what they're whipping you with, that fear, right? And or the other type, like I said, they get appeasers who are just desperate for connection with anybody, because they've been abandoned as a child or whatever, right? They're just desperate, and they will do anything. They'll pay any price. They'll kneel. They will kneel to a sociopathic narcissist. And then there are other sociopathic narcissists as well who rise within the group, right? Because all they want is power. They'll put, it's China, it's the CCP, it's the Chinese Communist government. Look at the regimes, the tyrannical regimes around the world, right? And they'll come up with seemingly legitimate arguments like racism, right? Racism is all around the world. There's always been slavery. Always been slavery, all the way back to the dot. I mean, sure, even monkeys have their own slaves. Ants have their own slaves, right? It's not right. It's certainly not right. It's not, and I'm not saying it is. And anyone who says that I am saying it is, sociopathic narcissist, trying to twist my words, right? Trying to play on a human fear of rejection, right? Let them do it. Let them twist my words. Oh, you've done it. You've twisted my words. There's another little twist. Oh, you've twisted my words. Oh, God, have a great day. Oh, I will have an awful day now because you've twisted my words and made me feel awful and unacceptable to society. Oh, you've achieved your goal. It was a great goal. Mock them. Mock them. How many fingers would you like me to believe I see as well? You know, play it back on them. They're stupid. They're incompetent. They get to where they are in society, in the positions, by playing on decent people's fear of rejection. That's how they get to where they are. They don't do the work. They don't do the work. They're often incompetent. So if you just push them by either mocking them, right, because they're mocking you, right? They're mocking you. They're trying to intimidate you. It's bullying, it's abuse, it's torture. So give it back, right? And often they don't work hard, so they don't have the knowledge. So another one is just keep on asking why. Why'd you say that? What's that opinion based on? Why? What's that opinion based on? Give me a fact. Okay, let's have a look at that fact, shall we? But bear in mind as well, some of the arguments they come up with seem legitimate. I was taken in. Look at the medical stuff that's come out, right, by advisors, seemingly credible advisors and credible journals. It's so bloody hard sometimes to try and extract the bullshit. They're playing on the fact that you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about in some areas, right? And they use language. They create their own language to try and exclude you and bamboozle you. They create this jargon. I've often wondered, why do scientific journals why are they so jargonized? Right, so other people can't read them and understand them. It's territory. It's protecting territory. It's protecting, it gives them a sense of power. It gives them a sense of power. That's what it is. They create their own language. There's no need for it to be so jargonized. Right? And another one is, not politically correct. That's their tactic. Another tactic to make them seem credible. They're playing on your fear of not being politically correct. And I could be rejected from society. It's a tactic. Just be yourself, be human, use your language, be respectful of course, but they're not being respectful to you when they come and try and change the way you think, you speak. They are not respecting you, right? They will use seemingly respectable language and behaviours, but they are not. They're not, right? Don't change your words. Don't change. Unless you want to develop, fine, give me a call. Send me an email, Dr. Mark Worthington, clinical psychologist. I'll help you, as long as you're not a narcissistic sociopath. If you are, I'll call you out on it. All right? And usually they go and complain about you. They play on my fear of being complained against, right? And that's why decent people, they step back, right? Against, okay, right? The worst thing that could have happened was having Google reviews, by the way, right? It gives a sociopathic narcissist free rein to blame people, right? Free rein. Worst thing that could have happened for hundreds of years, it's always been word of mouth. And if you weren't any good at what you did, if someone had a bad experience with you, it doesn't mean that you're not good at what you do, right? They might not come back, right? And word might get around to some people, but it's not going to fucking destroy your business, is it? Well, that's what sociopathic narcissists want to do. They're going into people's businesses, murdering, injuring, torturing, destroying, looting. That's not a protest. That is not a protest. That is not a protest. Protests are legal and they're part of the democratic process to stand up and debate. That's what Democrats do. They stand up and debate, right? And your views should be respectful. You should express your views with respect, with respect. And your views can be deconstructed with respect. And there can be an agreement to disagree. That's what politics is about, right? But if someone tries to shut you down or tries to convince you to see things their way, sociopathic narcissist or psychopath, they have no compassion. Compassion is like a handbrake. It's to stop you from doing bad things. They don't have it. It got destroyed in childhood, or it's a genetic thing, or some other physiological thing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they got some toxins when in the womb or something and affected the physiology, which emerges, and this effect emerges as a lack of compassion, right? They don't have compassion. So how can they be looking after your humanitarian rights, right? Why would they be humanitarian if they have no compassion? It's compassion that is fundamental to humanity, to what we understand to be humanity. Looking after our brothers and our sisters. It's compassion, right? They don't have compassion, right? All they want, they hate. They have lots of hate, right? And they disguise their hate, they camouflage it with apparent compassion. Oh, we've got your back. They haven't got your back. They haven't got your back. They're using, manipulating, playing on your fears, appearing compassionate. They would just burn their appeasers out and their naive ones out. They don't care about them. They hate everybody. Even their closest friends, they will hate and they would dump them. It's all about them, their individual self. They want power. They are nasty, evil bastards, like the Chinese Communist Party, like the Nazi Party, right? Like Stalin. They are posing as legitimate causes, but they are not. They are not, right? And do your own research. I suggest you read up on sociopathic narcissists in politics. There's a great book called The Sociopath Next Door. Read it or listen to it or whatever. There's a version of it on YouTube, I think. Listen to it, read, become an expert on sociopathic narcissists. Now, sadly, some sociopathic narcissists will be listening to this and they'll go and read up on it and probably develop more tactics, because that's what they do. That's what they do. Right, so become an expert. If you've got compassion, become an expert on sociopathic narcissists and how they influence society, right? I tell you a person who's really got a head on she's really spot on, is Candace Owens, or Candace Owens, right? She's amazing. Watched her yesterday on YouTube. She's phenomenal. She has really got a deep understanding of what's going on, right? What's going on. So if you're going to be influenced by them, then your life is going to be, they'll take you so far and then they'll burn you out. They don't care, right? Now, if that's what you want, that's up to you, right? But I'm telling you, you're on a road to destruction, right? If you're naive, study sociopathic narcissism, right? And if you are a sociopathic narcissist, I hope to God you get found out and exposed and dealt with accordingly. Okay? Bye-bye.